Cryptocurrency. That's exactly right.
It sounds like a super, like a...
Yeah. And the guy who knows about it more than anybody, who I'm now seeing on MSNBC and Fox News, and I mean, he's all grown up. He started here.
We taught him.
And he's just bailed. Alon Goren from Draper, Goren, Holm, the expert in cryptocurrency, crowdfunding, and the occasional drink recipe.
Yes.
How are you, man?
Pink squirrels. Look that up.
Doing good. Excited to be back.
No kidding. By the way, I've got an announcement. I talked to Alon this morning. He's going to be back with us on a regular basis, time permitting, for him. So first of all, talk about what you've been doing. You know, you started off with the Crowd Invest Summit, then you went to the Crypto Invest Summit, and then you started, some other genius thing that we wish we had done. Talk about what have you been doing the last year or so.
I'd copy his paper.
I would, exactly right.
It's been a fun few years, right? So, it's just a continuation of what we've always done, but now we more formally invest in early stage companies that are building in this space. So not just investing in Bitcoin or Ethereum, but the companies that are building these products for the space. So there on your screen is drapergorenholm.com, our website. And we have about 20 portfolio companies that we've basically seed invested in or become, for most of them, the first outside capital into their company. And we help them grow at our conferences and online and on shows like this, and excited to bring the good news to the show.
Well, good. So so let's get back to for Rusty Nails. Let's get back to Crypto 101, because listen, Russ has like about $30,000 in crypto and has no idea what he can do with it and how to make cash out of it. Can you give him a 101 once again for the people that are still dipping their toe into cryptocurrency, the blockchain,
which is a lot of people,
and digital currency?
Yeah, there's sort of like two parts. It's Bitcoin, which some people look at as like digital gold or a store of value, or money, right? So it's digital virtual money that's global. Or there's sort of the next stage, which is Ethereum, which is sort of a new way of banking and through automation and through smart contracts. And the idea is that we should be able to transfer money around the world really simply and easily, the same way that we can transfer and send emails. We're at this point now with technology. COVID actually kind of accelerated this because everyone went virtual. And why not go virtual with money as well?
Right. So the interesting part of this thing, Alon, and by the way, Alon Goren is our guest, Draper, Goren, Holm, and of course, by the way, I want to make sure I'm promoting, are you still doing your summit every year?
Yeah, we do LA Blockchain Summit every year. Last year it had to be virtual. We hope by November we're going to get back to real life and see you guys in person at the convention center. Yeah. But you never know. But yeah, LA Blockchain Summit is the conference as well.
Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit about the investment side, because we've seen Bitcoin go from being very popular to going stagnant, just like gold did for a number of years, and then all of a sudden you've seen this year, I guess it was last year, just an incredible increase in value. Huge. Now, one thing is much like any commodity, and I loved how you called it digital gold, because it really does make sense. You see price swings, and that's just the nature of the deal. We saw price swings in the last couple of days. You're 27% off, I think, is Bitcoin from their high, which indicate it's a quick bear market or a correction anyway. But at the same time, what do you attribute the recent popularity, and then what do you attribute the recent volatility to, Alon?
So, it's really tough to say the volatility. All of the crypto nerds blame it on the institutions or the banks or the whales that are trying to shake out the weak hands.
Right.
But, it's really hard to fully know. When something goes up 90% value it's actually at about 85% increase in the last 30 days, even with the recent drop. So when things go that far, it makes sense for people to take profits off the table.
And do you think do you think that people just took the time to learn about it in 2020 during the year of the beginning of the pandemic? Because suddenly you had more time on your hands, and suddenly you had a stock market that was booming and people had more cash in their hands. I'm going to have you answer that question for us when we come back from the break, because it seems to me that if you had a little bit of profit taking on with, let's say, Tesla last year,
yeah,
and you wanted to dip your toe in, that would have been the time. That had to be part of what made it more valuable.
I got to team you and my mom up together on a Zoom call because she's asking me questions.
Alon will never come back on the air with us. Although
I'm trying.
I love Franny, but let's face it.
I'm trying to.
All right, stand by. More of Alon Goren. Big Biz Show. Just checking my
crypto.
Yeah, crypto.
You know, I have Bitcoin and Ethereum.
What did you say?
Ethereum. I just feel like I've got a lift when I say that, but Ethereum.
Sorry.
And I have it, and I don't know. And I've taken money. I invested through my bank, Bank of America. I guess we can say that.
You did?
Yes.
I thought you did on the. By the way, Alon Goren's argument. Let's bring Alon back up for this because Alon, remember when you first sort of introduced us to this in the beginning a few years back? There was a few places you could go to purchase and I would say trade, I guess is the best word, for different types of digital currency.
Yeah.
And the frustration was there was 17 different platforms, and I knew how to put the money in, didn't know how to get the money out. Is that all? Has that consolidated a bit? Is there a little bit is there more centralization of that?
A little bit. It's really funny. I actually shared a clip today on Twitter of being on the show 4 years ago where you guys started playing police sirens on me while I was talking. But yeah, it's a lot better now. it's a lot different. You know, groups like Fidelity have gotten into the space where you could invest through your accounts. There's public companies where you could invest in sort of like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And then, of course, there's the Coinbases and the Geminis and the groups like that, which allow you to just invest directly into Bitcoin and take it off of their platform if you want to hold it.
Well, Carolina Panthers player Russell Okung is taking, I think, a third of his salary in digital currency, which is really interesting. Which means that you've got a big corporation in terms of a NFL team that actually has the wherewithal to pay people like that.
Well, I've taken money, I put money in, and I take it out just to see.
So what don't you understand now?
I just don't understand what the hell's going on here.
There's a question for you.
Because why can't I be a coin? I mean, what's
Russ coin?
I can?
Yeah, there's a thing called social coins that a few people in the decentralized finance space, these are the hyper nerds amongst us, have decided to tokenize, their time or their promotions and different things like that. So there are people doing it. But the big driver right now is these public companies and these institutions. Like, you've heard me for years say the institutions are coming, but they really are now, you know? Like, Michael Saylor is known as a hero in the Bitcoin world, but also in the public company world, because MicroStrategies bought some Bitcoin last year, and just their profits on Bitcoin, dwarfed their company's actual profits from providing services over the last few years.
Yeah, I think I have to tell you that the interesting part about this thing is that this is evolving just like you said it would. Talk about the regulatory side of this thing, because that was always the issue for us. Was the regulatory side. Actually, it was for you too. Is when was the shoe going to drop, and all of a sudden, the wild, wild west going to stop? Well, it seems to have gained its own herd immunity, so to speak, where it hasn't needed a lot of regulation, right?
Yeah, well, with Bitcoin and with Ethereum, there's clear regulations on which sort of groups within government regulate it. There's a more clear cut how you pay taxes on it, who you pay, and how it works. So all that stuff is there. When it comes to the other tokens, there's still, SEC, looming over the head of some of us, some of the tokens in the space. There's still the OCC and things like that. But the OCC, that's a group that regulates the banks. Brian Brooks, who is the current director, he used to work at Coinbase. He actually created a bunch of pro-crypto rules in the OCC.
And Coinbase in itself was where you traded this prior, and they did create a best practices because they were pioneers, right? I mean, it turned out to be, they didn't know it first, and then suddenly, we're pioneers, we know it doesn't work, so they based their rules on best practices from the very beginning, correct?
Exactly. I mean, they were one of the biggest ones, and then there's Gemini. Gemini is actually run by the Winklevoss twins.
The Winklevoss twins. They're High Wire Act out of Germany, I think.
Yeah.
So these guys hit regulation head on first, right? And they, the crazy decentralized people and some of us might not love hitting regulation first. They might want to circumvent them, but they did it right from a mainstream perspective. And now those exchanges exist to make it easy for people like our moms to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. Hey, Alon, before I let you out of here today, before we get to next week, what should we be looking out for in the news these days with respect to, those people that are looking to invest or those people that are looking just to learn about it? What's the best resources to
learn about it is what I got to do.
Yeah. Where's the resources?
So learn about it. Go to like the LA Blockchain Summit YouTube channel and hear what the chairman of the SEC has to say about this stuff. But for me, my favorite place to look is it's a shameless plug for Lunar Crush, one of our portfolio companies.
Lunar Crush.
You could actually see what the media has been saying and how much volume of media talk there has been around certain coins and things like that. I wouldn't go wild with coins. I'd look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pesos, and look at Bitcoin. There's less people in the media talking about it now than a year ago, even though the price is high. There's a bunch of reasons for that, all these politics and all this craziness. But what happens when the media catches up? I wonder how it'll affect the price.
I love that. Listen, next week, let's get your guys at Lunar, what is it called? LunarCrush.com. It says social listening for crypto. Alon, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate always having you on the air for us.
I got to start in on this, man.